Hi guys, thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it. I enjoyed the series. So for people though who haven't seen it, why don't you both start off by sort of just telling me a bit about your characters? We'll just go Martin, then Nigel.
Yeah, my character is Miguel, and I play one of Rafa's closest friends. This kid growing up in San Antonio, Texas, that's raised by his clever mom and five very different uncles.
Okay, Nigel.
Yeah, and I play Harris, another one of Rafa's close friends, closer than Miguel, who's to say? And so Harris is he's very confident as you can be as like a 16-year-old. And he has his family owns like a corner store in the area. And so he works at that. And he dreams of taking over one day, We'll see what happens.
So can you both talk about what was it though about these characters that made you just think that you had to take part in this project? We'll just keep going the same order.
Um, I think Miguel. What's really interesting and one I'm really honored to be able to play this character that's based off of our creator, Shea Serrano's real life. And I think that's a really cool experience to be able to be like somebody that was so close to him. And hopefully I did Miguel justice. Miguel is a little like rambunctious, I think, and he can be a little bit mischievous and rebellious. But he finds this really safety network and safety net like with the family, and he treats like Drea and the uncle is like an extension of his family, and I think that was something that resonated with me.
Nigel?
But yeah, I liked Harris's. He's very much in contrast to Miguel. Harris is very much like an idealist. He has all these ideas. They're bad ideas, but he
Yeah.
has, he has them. And so I really liked how when I was auditioning for it, he was talking about it was stuff from the cookout and stuff from the carnival, right? About how it's like his plan to like meet girls. And I thought that was just so funny and so stupid. And so for Harris to be like that and Miguel to be who Miguel is, it provides a good balance, when we're both trying to kind of influence Rafa a little bit.
Now, this show, I think I found it very, very funny. So my question is it hard to, especially with everybody talking all at once too, but is it hard to, I guess, not break up in the middle of takes? Did either of you have a hard time with that, with keeping it together?
Uh, not so much, I think. I felt like our scenes felt really dropped in, and it was easier to like if something was funny, we kind of went with that, in the scene. But when I watched the uncles, and their dynamic and their banter, I see they break, and it's really I think they actually were doing this challenge. Anybody who breaks puts $1 in the pot.
I will say, yeah, like our scenes, with the kids, the four of us, those were so good because we felt locked in for those. And but any scene that I did with Johnny, who played Rolly, was professionally just a nightmare because he he's very funny and he does improv a lot. And so trying to keep together while he's doing that, let alone with the rest of the uncles, is difficult. Yeah, it is.
Okay, I just with so many people sometimes it seemed very, I mean, obviously it's part of the show, but it seemed like it would be very chaotic and hard to kind of stay there. So what did you two find the easiest and the hardest to connect to with the characters?
I feel like what was easy for me to connect with Miguel was his ideas, like his like I said earlier, his mischievousness. There's an episode that we did with the super skateboard where we create this creation, this giant skateboard, and whatever happens, happens, as you can imagine. But I feel like that's kind of me. I'm like always up for an adventure. I think a challenge with Miguel was I would say maybe the banter. I wouldn't consider myself a funny individual. So I think that was something I was like, okay, what's the rhythm to humor?
Right?
Very,
What
very
about you?
existential there, yeah.
What about you, Nigel?
I think what was easy for me and then what kind of drew me to Harris is I kind of touched on it before, but he has this kind of very like unearned confidence, which I feel like I might have had when I was that when I was that young and in high school where you don't know anything, but you feel like you know everything. And so to drop back into that was fun because like yeah, I can, you know, saying all these lines, these really funny lines that our writers wrote, it just felt natural because he truly believes everything that he says. What was hard for me, I don't know, anything was particularly difficult except for working with Johnny and trying to keep it together. I will say maybe Harris's wardrobe. Harris's wardrobe is a bit louder than what I would probably wear even now. But I mean, he dresses pretty well. If that's the worst thing that I can complain about, then that's not too bad, right?
Not too bad. So did any of you, the group of kids, did you any of you hang out kind of outside of filming to kind of, you know, get that friendship? Or I know sometimes with you know, restrictions, it may have been hard. I'm not sure exactly when you filmed it, but did you guys hang out at all?
We did. We did. That was a highlight, I think, staying in Albuquerque because where we filmed it was that we were all able to like create this friendship outside of work and then bring it into our scenes and into our dynamic on camera. And that was really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I remember even before our first day, we all went to dinner, just to kind of, you know, get to know each other, and just hang out. And that kind of set the tone of like, you know, like we are friends. We are friends throughout this outside of work. And so yeah, I think that really helped us build that chemistry. And I think it shows in our performances and in the show.
Yeah. Do you made me wonder, you're saying that those you guys are all friends. Do you kind of see yourselves or each other in your characters at all?
Ah,
You're funny, Martin. You are, I
maybe,
promise.
maybe there's, they do their characters so well. Maybe there's facets to them, that resemble their characters. I think we were filming there during the 4th of July, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so there's the firework episode where
Yeah, that one's
Miguel
fun.
does Miguel things to the family barbecue. And aside from that, like outside of work, we went and did this like firework show. And I felt very much like the character because I was like, let's just light all the fireworks up at once.
Yeah, I think that speaks to, and Martin kind of touched on this, but it speaks to how well the characters are written,
Mhm.
in that they're all very relatable, right? There's stuff about Rafa, about Miguel, about Maya, even some of the uncles, right? Where I'm like, oh, I can see myself, you know, in them, or I can see like I have someone who is like Uncle Ryan in my family for sure. And you know, the writing is so well, and I think that's also what I would want people to kind of see in the show. You would want people to kind of see yourselves because it's a very like, you know, um, heartwarming show. It's very warm and very open.
Yeah. Is who out of the whole cast would the two of you like to have gotten maybe more scenes with? And if you get a season 2 that you want to maybe spend a little bit more time with that you didn't get to?
I would have to say some scenes with Uncle Mondo would be really fun.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that'd be really interesting. And I love all their characters, but I love his character as well. And Uncle Rolly. I think Uncle Rolly and Miguel could get into a lot of trouble.
I think so
100%.
too. What about you, Nigel?
I would love to have more scenes with Drea, just because I really like Christina as a person. And obviously as a character,
Yeah.
Drea's an incredible mom and she's so caring. Just like how Christina is outside of work as well. So I would just love to just spend more time with Christina, to be honest.
Well,
I
it
mean, that's what it is.
seems like a great cast. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. I found it very funny. So thank you for your time, both of you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, you
Thanks for
too.
having me.
Appreciate it.
Sure. Bye bye.